Hello, welcome to Tea Time with Jude. All right, girls, tell me the truth. Are these masks not wreaking havoc on your lipstick? They sure are with me, and I am insistent on wearing lipstick. I think that I look better with it on. I look all dressed up. I feel very grown up. And when I take my mask off, I have clown mouth. Now, it's the clown mouth that, we've had before, say like we've been in a great kiss, a great embrace with our lips and everything. And the lipstick is all over him and all over us, and it still looks ridiculous. But it's not the same if a mask is doing it. Yet and still, I am sure that the cosmetic companies are working very diligently on making a lipstick that dyes your lips. Excuse me, motorcycle. Been quiet all day long. Anyway, I digress. The reason I wanted to talk to you today is about something that I think we've all come across before in one way or another. Not necessarily this scenario that I'm going to tell you about. Essentially, it has to do with possible regret. Now, there have been things that we have done in the past that we look back on, and a lot of us will say, God, I really regret doing that. I have shifted around my way of thinking with that simply because if I could have done it in a better way at that time, I would have. But I did it the best way that I knew how at that time. So I don't want to have that word regret because I think it's a little negative. I don't want to hold that in my body. I don't want to articulate it. So it's like it was a learning. Okay, it was a learning. Could you have done it better, Jude? Yes, but I didn't. I did my best. Okay, so remember that if that helps you at all. So what happened is I have been living in my condo building for over 20 years. And some years back, one of the owners who's up on the top floor got mad at me. Now, I don't know exactly what the scenario was. One day she was really nice, and then the next day she wasn't so nice. And then I became not so nice. Now, if I had put on my big girl panties, I would have gone up there and say, hey, what happened here? But I didn't. I was in a place and a space energetically where I just went, screw it. That's just the way it's going to be. And so throughout the years that she and I were not talking, it was pretty uncomfortable for the most part, especially if we would run into each other. Standing outside the elevator, I'm waiting for the elevator so I can go down into the garage, and it opens up and there she is. And it's like, oh crap. So sometimes I would just simply go, I'll wait until the next one, or I would get in and just look at the ceiling. Now, it made me terribly uncomfortable, and it was only hurting me. I had this awful feeling, and that's been running through me like, oh, what if she's in the elevator, or what if I meet her in the garage and I've got to avoid her? And if you ever deliberately try to avoid somebody, it just is not a good feeling. So the other morning I woke up, and as I'm lying in bed, I can never get those two correct, lying in bed, she came to mind. And I thought, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to go up there and I'm to her place. I'm going to knock on the door and I'm going to tell her, I'm sorry for whatever it is, whatever I did, which I don't know. I'm sorry for what I did. And just the idea of doing that felt right. There was no excess angst about, I don't want to, or what's going to be my expectation. Is she going to say she's sorry too? Is she going to open the door? Whatever. But it didn't matter. I was finally at that place where it's like the ego had nothing to do with it anymore. It was, I really wanted peace and tranquility in my life, as I know we all do. And I didn't want to run away anymore. Silly. So just yesterday, and this is 2 days later, I was coming in the front of the building, and she was getting her mail. And she turned, and this is the first time she's actually talked to me without sneering. So she was sneering back at me. She said, "Oh, I was going to get the door for you." And I said, "Oh, that was very nice. Thank you, but everything's good." And I walked past her. I said, "You have a good day." And I went into my unit, and then I turned around and went right back out again. Because I wanted to tell her that I was sorry. That I wanted to tell her that all these years we've been doing everything, or I've been doing my avoiding, whatever it was that I did to cause this friction, I apologize. And she looked at me, and I've never seen such a big smile on her face, ever. And she said, "I'm so glad." She goes, "Time is, life is so short." And I said, "So you'll forgive me for anything that I did?" And she said, "Oh yes, I'm happy." Big grin. She wears a lot of lipstick too, but she has one of those plastic masks, so it doesn't smush her lipstick. And I felt such a relief. It was like, yes. It was like I had created a scenario for myself that made me uncomfortable. I was in charge of this. And the moral of this story is we are in charge of our feelings. We are in charge of how we show up every single day. And even though for some reason or other I felt justified in never talking to her, that bothered me because I'm a very social person. I was a flight attendant. I mean, we're always entertaining. We're always taking care of people. We're always wanting to make sure that everybody is happy. Well, that's the way I've been prior to being a flight attendant. That's the way I still am after many jobs after that. But knowing that I created this not dis-ease, it's not disease, but well, it's kind of a disease in that really ugly ego feeling that was making me feel bad, making me feel less than, running around avoiding deliberately, when all I really had to do is just like cast the ego aside and just say, "Hey, I'm sorry." So the scenario, as I was talking about, is the fact that we've all had that, where whatever it is, the don't like somebody, have to see them every day, do everything to avoid them, cause ourselves the upset. They don't care. They're not going to sleep going, "Wow, I really am causing that person upset because I'm around them. I just exist in the energy field." We're doing it to ourselves. And we do it because of some story we tell ourselves, like, "I'm right. No, you're right. No, I'm right." And as my good friend Michael always says, just concede to it. Just own it. Like, if I did something, I'm sorry. And I didn't implode, and my hair didn't fall out, and nothing happened to me other than the fact that I was so grateful that I had stepped out to do it. I had finally, after all these years, stepped out, put on my big girl panties, and said, "I'm sorry." And it cleared everything up for me. And she was happy, and now I don't have to avoid her, and now I don't have to have this ugly feeling inside of me, and I don't have to go out another door of the building just to avoid her. I mean, it's not that bad, but you get the idea, don't you? So if there's anybody in your life that you've got animosity with, it really doesn't hurt to take the higher road. And even though they may have been the one to cause the initial upset, you're the one that's carrying it to the point that it may be a great disadvantage, not only to your friendship that you could have with them, or the friendships that you do have around the periphery of this person, because they could be part of your team. The energy that you spent talking about them, and making them be the bad guys, when in all actuality, you're being a bad guy for yourself. And then there goes some forgiveness for being the one that's causing this discomfort. That's the word, not disease, discomfort. So at the end of the day, when I walked back into my unit, there was that little part of me that played out. I guess it was the ego sort of clicking in there going, oh yeah, and it was really nice of her to say that she was really sorry for all the horrible things that she said to me. But that just made me laugh, because that's not the reason I did it. I didn't say I'm sorry so that she would say that she was sorry. I said I was sorry because I no longer wanted to carry that energy around. So that's my little story for the day, and I'm sure you can pull up one or two or a few that have happened in your life. And if you get to the point where you have to ask yourself, how important is this to relieve this energy so that it is much more tranquil and much more aligned with your higher self, then it might be a good idea to just go suck it up and talk to the person, even email them, whatever it is, just to alleviate that excess, because life is too short and we deserve better for ourselves, and we're the creators of our own play. We orchestrate it, we write the play, we direct it, we pick out the characters, then we throw in the lessons right there that we have to learn. And I just learned a big lesson, and even though it ran on me for a long, long time, I'm done with it. I know what to do next time. So I hope this was helpful for you. Happy to see you again, even though I can't see you. I hope someday we do. And you have a wonderful rest of your day. Sending you much love. Bye. Oh, before I forget, please go on to my website, coachingtothecore.com. If you haven't already, sign up. I have great blogs there, tips and tools. I have a free breakthrough session, so you get 30 minutes with me free to unravel an issue like running away from your neighbor, something like that. I've had some real good feedback from this, and it's still available to you. So help yourself out, and I look forward to actually talking to you. Bye for now.